Well, folks, Vaughan disappeared. And look, whatever happened to us, but he's here today, and this is the great thing. So we're starting a new thing, political perspective. See the sign? Well, I'm quite proud of that sign. It's pretty cool. But Vaughan, welcome, and good to have you back.
Oh, thank you, Max. I was lost, but now I'm found. You sent the search party out, and really pleased to be here. So let's go at it, bro.
Well, he's got a lot to tell us, and he is lost. Tell us more. Where have you been?
Lost to you, and probably lost to some that sort of watch me from a distance. But as you know, for the last few years now, I've really been focused on in terms of my own culture and people, and that has sort of led me to a path to the prisons. And so for a while now, there's been a real focus there, and so I am working behind the wire, and I think that a lot of people on LinkedIn probably have not understood where I've been coming from with a lot of stuff, such as the anti-alcohol stance and its relationship to crime. So hopefully as we talk, that'll become more evident. But one of the things I'll just throw in, Max, before I hand it back to you, is that what's really refreshing is there's nowhere on LinkedIn where you can find a Māori guy and a Pakeha guy that are going go at it. Yeah, and I promise not to smack you.
So, look, two rules of that then, no time, big brother. One rule is that I'm always right, and the second rule is we don't get angry, and our friendship will never, ever be impinged on this, all right?
All right,
Even though we have some...
Yep. That's the least I can do for my treaty partner.
I've just won the first argument. All right.
Okay.
Did you hear him agree that I'm always right? Well, I'm going to keep my hold of that. Yeah, like bloody pigs flying.
All right.
So, right, let's get into the political stuff right now in here. So, where do you see things going? Because, it's election time, and it's not up to you and me, it's up to all the voters. So, what's your prediction?
Okay, so my own personal prediction is in terms of, and so I've told how I'll see it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a treaty partner, you're a treaty partner, and we have te tiriti, and I see we're going to end up with a government that doesn't give two hoots about it, or a government that has an intent to honour it, which means where we're going, we're heading to a T intersection that is going to divide the country one side, or there's going to be a line in the sand. That's where I see it's going. Now, that might sound a little bit out there for some, but I absolutely can feel that.
See, this is your new perspective that you see things on, Vaughan, because why I see it is one party's going to win, one party's going to lose.
Yeah.
What you see it is on a co-governance issue, isn't it? And your focus right now is on Maori issues, correct?
Well, no, sort of. So what, in terms of one party winning, one party losing, that's government, that's politics. But I'm talking down at the flax roots level where the people on the street, and some politicians call them bottom feeders and living in garages and all that sort of stuff. They don't care about politics. It's haves and have-nots. And so I think this the wealth divide and the yawning gap that's been opening up for the last sort of 4 or 5 years now is just going to stretch open.
Well, look, what we got is polls,
yeah,
and the polls are indicating it's seesawing up and down, and there's no assurance of it. But I tell you what, there's a statistic out there, I don't know if you're aware of this, 50% of the voters have not made their mind up yet.
Yeah, and
that's scary.
Yeah,
that's really scary.
And I was blown away by that. And look, I can believe it. I think that people probably do want change. So when the polls say they're neck and neck, I think on the day there's going to be a landslide to the right, but it's not because the right is right. It's because people just want change. The fact of the matter is that 50% undecided, they are actually looking at National in particular, not ACT. I mean, David's punching above his weight, can't stand anything he says, but he does an awesome job. National are very, they're lukewarm. They look like a deadbeats club at the moment.
But Vaughan, don't forget what happened last election. I predicted it was going to go back to the right. And geez, how far wrong was I? Everything went right to the left. So my prediction was wrong.
Yeah.
And the polls did pick Jacinda was the fairy dust or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
And it did work.
Yeah. Look, I know the politicians watch everything that we do with bated breath. One of the key things about the National Party at the moment is that what went to the to the left to Jacinta last time, massive female vote, and I think the undecided voters will be a huge skew to female, and I think a lot of them at the moment are looking at Chris Luxon as the leader, and you know how women have this sixth sense radar thing? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something there that's saying, I don't know, I really don't know, and my views, I've always said, push Erica Stanford to the front, it would change in 6 seconds. So no disrespect to Chris Luxon, but that's the optics of politics.
Optics are very important, and I do agree with that. And unfortunately, Luxon's got a reputation now of being untrustworthy, which is a bit of a shame for National, because I think it's going to cost them a lot of votes.
And trust when you lose it is bloody hard to get back, and it's pretty hard, because in politics you only have to put one step wrong, and because I think it was John Key that said no one remembers your successes, they remember your failures, and that's
and there's a good cliche that follows that, is that the election's not going to be won by National. the election's going to be lost by Labor. And that really just segues right into there's been a terrible, terrible week for Labor.
Yeah.
And Chippy's had a rough run.
But, I think that's what's going to make this election so intriguing is that it looks like Labor have imploded in the same way National imploded in 2020 and it was a joke. But the thing is that can they come back? Can they come back? That is the question. You'd look at it and go, well, he hasn't got a team. He's lost everybody. So Labor are in a big mess. And by the way, in terms of me having my views on National, do not read that I'm pro-Labor. I'm just looking at the whole thing and going, all of you want to run the country? You got to be joking.
All right, big time. Tell me what you would do.
Who
should run our country?
Oh, well, right. In terms of what's going on right there now, what we're missing is fresh ideas, fresh people. And the poor little dudes in top, I love them to bits, but there's not enough of them.
So who should run the country?
Obviously, Te Pāti Māori.
Who are they? Is it the Maori Party?
That's exactly the answer I'd expect from a Pākehā.
Whoa! All right, then, who are they? Tell us more about it.
No, you and I both know, looking at the talent that is in Wellington, none of them would set your heart on fire. There's nobody. Both of us agree on that. So when you ask me, it's a loaded question because if I throw it back at you, you look at it and really, there's a lack of vision. There is a lack of vision in leadership.
It's certainly the faults are very, very profound, but what's a better way?
I think we've just got to make the best of a bad situation. So it's the lesser of two evils in this situation.
I do agree that it's lack of imagination. There's a lack of new ideas. Is policies not really inspiring us? But Vaughan, the National Party is saying wait.
Yeah.
Wait. And look, they've been saying that for a year, and it's really pissed you off. I know.
It has. Yeah.
And a lot of other friends are going, they've got no policy at all.
Yeah.
But they're saving it up for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
That's got probably another month to go. Waiting.
Yeah. So looking at this through Māori eyes and looking at National,
I think the strategy's wrong.
Yeah, but the National Party issue I have is the triggers and levers. They're just going to pump the immigrants back into the country. We're going to have cheap labour splattered everywhere, slave shop businesses. It's not right, and that's why you look at like their objection to the payment practices bill and stuff like that. Those are signs where the world's changed. It really has.
Well, then, Vaughan, one of our biggest problems in this country is the lack of productivity.
Yep.
And that's because we haven't got enough people doing work.
Yep.
Well, how do you resolve it without bringing on the immigrants?
Yeah, but
we're disagreeing on that one, I think.
Yeah, but if productivity is underpinned by pumping cheap labour back into the economy, productivity is not sustainable.
Actually, I do agree with that.
That's a Congo cobalt mine.
Do you know, because this is one of my, you hate the word productivity
I
now.
do. I'm sitting on my tongue, bro.
We've lost Vaughan. He's gone way over the other way. But I'm just going to say that Denmark did a really good job of getting productivity because the government really made an injection of cash, getting loans for small businesses so they can get their technology up there, which means less people, less work.
Yep. Yeah.
And I've got this big thing I go on and on now with intellectual computers.
Yes.
What am I calling it? ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying about that, we're going to see a lot of unemployment very, very soon. I'm saying in the next 5 years, we're going to see mass of unemployment in this country, but also around the world.
Yeah. But I think that what we're in is at the beginning of a renaissance where we look at our current politicians.
Agreed.
The optics of the parties, really, and the Nats are the ones that worry me. This is not a party that you'd say, wow, what a cool bunch. It really looks deadbeat, and they're going to be running the country.
Well, no, I go bigger than that. I actually think there's going to be a massive change right through the whole globe.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a crash of the monetary system. There'll be a crash of democracies not working for people. People are getting pissed off right around the world, right around the world, not just in New Zealand. But New Zealand is actually not happy about things at all.
So the lead indicators are that the form of ACT is not because ACT are brilliant in terms of their policies. People are jumping ship from National to ACT because they look at National and go, this is far more sexy. David's motivated, he's driven, Brooke looks pretty cool. I think on the left they'll see emergence of parties, and I think Te Pāti Māori will get a lot of young.
All right, before we cut out of this, Kerry Allen. We better talk about her.
Yeah,
Kitty Allen.
Yeah, what would you like to say about?
Well,
Kitty?
you're not very happy about the way she, the Parliament talked about her situation.
Oh, look, I think my situation was, all of her wrongdoings and the mistakes she's made and the bad decisions are all on her, right? But she resigned, said she was stepping out of politics, but for some reason we needed to get the House back in and debate that. And I thought that was like the equivalent of someone being on the ground in a pub fight and putting the boot into them. That's cowardly. If I was there, someone would have worn it. right? That's just not the way you treat people. So I didn't like that. How do you feel?
I don't think I like that. No, I think she is one of the most powerfulest women in the country.
Was.
She was. And with that, I think there should be some discussion within Parliament. I think they should have actually just addressed it. And look, there was a across the board respect for her and best wishes for her to recover, but they had to cover it. I think it was the right thing to do. A brief discussion about it and then move on.
Yeah,
she's gone.
yeah,
I mean, she's
yeah.
yesterday's person. She's career's finished. All that. It's terrible.
I think she's happy about that too. I think the thing for Kitty, what we saw there, clearly, if you were to say the issue with the Labor Party is, how the hell did you think it was a good idea to bring Kitty back and when clearly she wasn't ready? She wasn't ready. So what did they miss? And so to me, it's on the party less than Kitty herself. But
you didn't see it this morning. There was a Chippy was asked those exactly questions. It was on the Nation TV show, which is on, and they asked him all those questions. Why did you? All the red lights with flags were there, but he said, I was reassured. Everything was fine. Everything was going well.
Yeah.
We had wraparound services for a lot of her colleagues who were looking after. Willie Jackson was calling in on her all the time.
Yep.
All these things, and he said, we didn't expect this crash to happen.
Yeah, because, in this world where it seems like every time anybody's feeling a little bit off colour, mental health, right? So that sticker is getting slapped on anything. It's like the Weet-Bix spot cards, mental health. And so it's like, here we go. Now, and that's not to say the situation with Kitty is not mental health, but it seems like it's a default when anyone's out of whack. And so that's a sign of the times that we're in. We're a grumpy bunch
That's
right
another
now.
issue, but I think hers is pretty genuine for the way she...
hard out.
And by the way, I'm not like you don't probably know that program this morning says there's a lot more to come about this. She was found 500 metres away. They had to get a tracking dog to find her. But the tracking dog wasn't there to find her, sorry. I said that wrong. The tracking dog was there to prove that she came out of the car. So that almost implies to me that she's denied she was driving. And the police had to prove it.
Yeah, but if you've stacked a car up and mentally you're in a bad state and you do a runner, 500 metres, I think I'd cover 500 metres and try to hide behind a bush. Whoop-de-doo. What would you do? Sit there, Max, and go, cuff me?
Vaughan, 1987, I did do it.
Yeah, of course.
There I was, driving like hell, and then a cop behind me, chasing.
Yep.
I shot off down a side road and spun around a corner, going like hell, in my suit, by the way, 4:30 in the afternoon. Guess what I did? I pulled the car up the handbrake and it was skidding to a halt and I leapt out, went over a fence and the cops got me. What was I going to say?
Yep.
Well, someone stole my car. But they got me.
But, and so I think the thing is that the issue here is that the crash, the alcohol, the doing a runner, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
The issue is Justice Minister. That's all.
Well,
that's the issue.
The worst thing, I'm just going to flick the subjects around a bit more because I think we should cover this one as well. That Minister Parker, David Parker, I think he did the dirtiest. Chippy is going through hell. He's losing minister after minister. But Parker, to say, I don't want to play in the revenue ministry anymore, I'm out of here, because he got the sulks over the minister overriding him. I think that was the lowest blow anyone could do to their Prime Minister.
Oh, and it underlines that saying, a friend in need is a friend indeed. Like, talk about rats jump ship. Woo-hoo!
Now, the other thing was, Vaughan and I were talking a couple of days ago. We mentioned Ginny Anderson, and Vaughan said he had the inside word that she could be a force to be reckoned with, but also watch her because she's going to be good. Now, I saw an interview this morning, Vaughan. She was good.
Yep.
I've got to say, she's got one of the worst portfolios you could find. Police, crime, it's all out of hand.
Yep.
And
Poison chalice.
Yeah, and she was under attack. And by God, she gives it back.
Yeah.
But she better make some action because in the next 3 months, I think the public, crime is right up there's number one priority, I would think, for a lot of people.
She had massive shoes to fill when Stuart Nash went because everybody can see in hindsight he was a pretty bloody capable minister.
He didn't do anything.
He was awesome. But the thing is that Ginny, when she came in, I sort of looked at it, but I think
we talked about it. We said, no, she's not going to do it.
And man, she is like, it's almost like she's growing in the role. So, regardless of party, that's fantastic to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, GST of fruit and vegetables, you think it's a good idea?
It's an absolutely good idea. Actually, I'll just pause on that. What it's actually done is it's shown the distrust of the New Zealand public in the friggin' supermarket community because they're all saying, the supermarkets just put the prices up and absorb that GST when it comes off. And I think that's the thing is, they probably will, which means don't do it. But the thing is that if we can have 8 liquor stores in the main street of Aotearoa, I'd rather have 8 greengrocers.
I just heard Vaughan, you said don't do it, so you're against it.
Yeah, no, it's too complicated.
I do.
Yeah, but I like the idea.
Yeah.
So how do we, the education around eat good, natural, clean foods.
I mean, one thing about our tax system, you've always said it, it's unfair. But one of the things is it's one of the cheapest, most effective tax systems in the globe.
Yep.
Because we don't mess about with the GST and all those things.
That's exactly right. And I think this is the thing the public don't realise is when you start playing around with the tax system, it's like a Rubik's Cube, and most governments don't want to go there. Right. Yeah, it's like opening a real can of worms.
Well, next week I want you to come back, but I reckon what we should talk about is political appointments. I mean, should the government be appointing the high-ranking public servants, or should they stay right at it and don't appoint people? That's a question I want to leave with you. Not to answer it now.
But I want to answer it
You're
now.
not allowed. You're not allowed.
Sheesh. Well, why don't you ask Rob Campbell?
I started the show by saying, Vaughan, this is not my show. I'm not running it. But I just have. I'm just another rule.
So is that like stay tuned and come back for that one? Because I'm actually just only warming up now.
You just behave.
Yeah, it's been so hard not to reach over and slap you, bro.
I think you love me. He loves me, folks. I can tell. But the more we disagree, the more we look at each other and go, he's not a bad bastard, even though he's got funny ideas.
So we're going to do this on a weekly basis. What are we, 77 days out from the election?
Yeah.
So now things are getting serious. All those rubbish polls neck and neck we've seen so far, I think, shit is starting to get real.
And if we see something really important, would you give us a bell? I mean, you're away, but I am too. So we'll try and jam it in weekly.
Yeah, well, I'm sort of going, into the sort of like the quieter end of town for a little while. And as you're heading off, aren't you jet setting? Your private jets taking you to one of your islands?
I wish.
Yeah.
No, we'll be away
Epstein.
for a week or so, and then down the Naki in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'll be away.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'll try and call in. We can do this. Cheers, mate.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Max. Awesome.
Thanks.